Testing out the mic. Testing out the mic. Testing out the mic. Oh! Ah, shit. Yep, that's about right. Hello and welcome to my first video on this channel. I had to change my outfit because I sweat through the first one, so yes. Hello, if you don't know me already, my name is Shay and I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD about a month ago at the ripe old age of 29, and I created this channel to be sort of a documentation of my process of getting to know my particular neurotype 29 years late and what that process is like for me. And I hope that if you're along for this ride with me, you too are getting to know your neurotype, whatever that might be, whether it is ASD, whether it is ADHD, or any of the E's out there. You will get to know me very soon and get to know that I am not so good at talking because for a long time I kept my voice silent among peers, among coworkers, among pretty much everyone because I had a really, really great sensitivity to rejection and so I'm kind of out of practice. So here I am trying to speak on this channel. This video is all about the ways that I am unmasking as a very, very newly diagnosed AuDHD person. And I just want to have this disclaimer here, which is probably self-explanatory, but in no ways am I an expert on autism, on ADHD, on unmasking, on any of these topics. I'm really just going at this with a beginner's mindset, trying to learn this for myself, trying to learn how to navigate a neurotype that I've lived with my whole life. And I hope that you enjoy or take something away from this. I left my notebook on the ground, so let me try to get it with me feet. This is a secret talent of mine. Okay, so I have notes because I am autistic. So, the first thing I want to say is just about how I view unmasking as a complete newbie, complete beginner. So your view on unmasking might be different from mine, and that is totally fine. What I just want to say about unmasking is, first of all, what it means to me. I have been unmasking long before I found out that I was autistic, long before I found out that I had ADHD. I am really big into self-reflection and self-development, personal development. I have been in a 12-step program for codependency for the past year. I have read all of Brene Brown's books. So I am very much so on that train of how can I get to know myself better so that I can function in the world as a functional human being, if that makes sense. So I started this process of unmasking, I would say probably about 5 or 6 years ago, really just trying to get to know who I am underneath the facade of who I was pretending to be. I just didn't know that it was unmasking at the time. But getting my diagnosis, both when I was self-diagnosing and when I got my professional diagnosis a month ago, that was like the turbo boost to my unmasking because I realized that so much of what made me who I am, or so many of the qualities that I possessed that I could not explain, that I could not change, were because of my neurodivergence, were because of my autism or my ADHD. And so that level of self-acceptance really helped me to start unmasking in a way that I wasn't unmasking before I knew that I was neurodivergent. So the first way that I am unmasking is very much an internal process. I think a lot of times we think of unmasking as really showing the world who we are. But I think so much, like at the heart of what unmasking is unmasking to ourselves and learning to understand who we are before we even show the world. And so if you're in a position where unmasking to other people is not an option because it doesn't feel safe for you, first of all, I just want to validate you. I have been there. I know what it's like. And you don't have to unmask to other people if it doesn't feel safe for you. And I do want to say that I personally believe that unmasking isn't completely off the table for you, because even if you can't unmask in the company of others, you can either unmask in the company of a select few that you feel safe with, or just unmasking with yourself does so much for your self-acceptance and just for getting to know parts of yourself that you may have hidden away for a very, very long time. And so the first way that I have started to unmask is just to validate the ways that I am and to just name why I am the way I am, why I do the things that I do. So a few examples of this would be socializing. Socializing has always been very, very challenging for me. Ever since I was a little kid, I just felt very lost when it came to socializing. I even remember my mom tells this anecdote about how I used to be in dancing school as a kid, like many kids, and she asked about my friends in the class, and I didn't have any friends in the class. I told her, I'm there to dance. I'm not there to socialize. And I think that was kind of a defense mechanism for me because I didn't know how to socialize in that setting because it wasn't structured. There wasn't a structure to socializing. We kind of just walked into this room where there was this giant mirror so we could see how awkward we were, speaking for myself, and we were just expected to kind of shoot the shit with one another as 8-year-olds or however old we were, and that just was never a natural process for me. And so now, instead of getting down on myself for really, really struggling with socializing and struggling to fit in and make small talk, I don't force myself to do those things anymore. Knowing my unique neurotype has allowed me to take that weight off of my shoulders. And so if we have a full week of socializing ahead of us, speaking for me and my husband, I'm able to say, okay, realistically, which of these events am I going to be able to participate in? To what extent can I participate in each of these events without burning out? And so even just this past week, we had a lot of social gatherings on the calendar, and I said no to some of them. Not because I didn't want to see the people, not because I don't like the people who were there, just because I was aware of what it was going to take out of me. And I learned to set that boundary, and knowing that this is a struggle for me, I'm able to set that boundary without shame. And I think that is part of unmasking. Part of unmasking is just recognizing what our limitations are without shame. And this goes for socializing. It also goes for jobs. I just started a job about a couple of weeks ago, and I was in the training process. It wasn't going so well for me. I was very behind. It was very, very hard for me to focus. And I was really just paying attention to how I felt as I moved about the space, imagining myself with the responsibilities that I would have. And there was a part of me that really, really wanted that job. I found so much purpose in it. However, I knew that it required a lot of executive functioning that I am just not capable of. And I don't say that to sound like I'm defeated. Like, I don't feel defeated. I just feel like I know myself. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. I know my limitations. And by understanding that, by knowing my limitations, I am able to say no to what I know that I can't handle so that I can say yes to what I can and what I want to handle, honestly, what I want to put my energy toward. And so I'm in the process now of looking for a job that's a better fit based on what I'm good at. So yeah, that's number one, is just validating the ways that we are to ourselves, in our heads, in our journals. It's not really about showing anybody anything, even at that point. It's just about just accepting, coming to a place of acceptance in ourselves. I'm going to move on to the second part of my unmasking, which is a little bit more fun in my opinion, and that is with my fashion. So like I said, I started unmasking before I got my diagnosis about a month ago, and I started kind of being a little bit rebellious with my fashion. And I say that like term rebellious very loosely because I was very strict about the way I presented myself to other people. Like, I would only wear like earth tones, beige, brown, like gross. Not gross. I mean, if you love wearing earth tones and that's your thing, then go for it. It's just that I limited myself to only wearing those tones. And I say that as I pretty much am wearing earth tones now, but I also have got fun necklaces on. So anyway, I started that process a little while ago, wearing bigger earrings, wearing gold. For some reason, it was always taught to me that I should be wearing silver, even though I don't like silver. I prefer gold. I prefer big earrings over small earrings. I prefer not having to go to the nail salon to get my nails done all the time because I hate that process. And so my fashion has been a very quietly loud way of unmasking, if that makes sense. So like, I'm not saying anything or doing anything. I'm just expressing it through my style. And so part of that has been not wearing any makeup. Every now and then I like a good glitter and I like a good lipstick, but I personally hate wearing makeup because I always forget that it's on my face. I always rub it off. Having to take it off at the end of the night is a sensory nightmare, and it just doesn't work. It never comes fully off, and it messes with my eyes. And anyway, yeah, I've just stopped wearing makeup, and that has been so freeing for me. Another thing that I've done that has been somewhat radical has been cutting my own hair. You might notice that my hair is a little bit messy, and that's because I am not a hairdresser and I cut my own hair. And there's a couple reasons why I do this. One, I have ADHD. I do things impulsively sometimes, and when I want my hair cut, I want it done now. I want to do it myself because I can do it in my own timeline, which is in the next 5 minutes. And so I just go in and like Mulan style with the sword. I use scissors, not a sword, but just like cut it all off. So the impulsivity is one of the reasons why I do it. Another reason why I do it is the same thing as the nails. I don't like going into a hair salon. I don't like sitting there. I don't like having to make small talk with the hairdresser the entire time. It takes so much out of me. I feel like going to get my hair done is like an all-day event, even if it only takes a couple of hours, because by the end of it, I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm just done. I need to go take a nap. And so cutting my hair has been really freeing for me because I'm able to do it on my own terms. And I don't have to sit there and make conversation with people. And for the record, I did not do any research on how to cut my hair in a way that looks nice, just because I personally don't care very much. I just wanted my hair to be short because my hair is naturally very knotty. I wanted it to just be short and easy and manageable, and I probably will only ever have shorter hair than this. Like one day I will come on and it will be buzzed, because that just, to me, that's synonymous with freedom. And clothing. So in terms of my fashion for clothing, I've just been more silly more silly is a great word. No, my flounder came off of my necklace. This is one of my favorite necklaces. I got it from the thrift store, and I'm pretty sure that maybe a 5-year-old made it. It's got little charms. It's got a little flounder from the Little Mermaid charm, and it just came off. So I'm gonna have to fix that. I've just been very quirky with my fashion and wearing mismatched things, wearing bright colors, wearing things that a 5-year-old made, wearing big flashy earrings. And I don't know if this relates back to my AuDHD, but I feel like my AuDHD diagnosis has really given me the freedom to fully, like 100% express myself through fashion, because that was like the cherry on top of the cake, like the last missing puzzle piece that I needed to fully accept all parts of me. And somehow that quirky part of me just came out with my diagnosis. That's that. Okay, number 3 is stimming. So the whole reason why I decided to get a diagnosis in the first place went back to my stimming. So ever since I was a little kid, I would hand flap, and it would look, and it's going to be kind of like manufactured right now because it's not actually happening, but it would look kind of like this, right? Like I would hand flap in front of my face, and I would make kind of weird faces. And I have been doing this for as long as I can remember, and people would point it out to me and kind of a little bit like make fun of it, or say like, I caught you doing that hand thing again. And because of that, I learned very early on to suppress it, but I never fully suppressed it. I continued to do it throughout my entire 29 years. I would just do it when I was alone. So I would do it in the bathroom, I would do it in the shower, I would do it just when I had a moment where I thought no one else was looking. A few months ago, my husband, who I've been with for just about 10 years now, saw me doing it for the first time. I managed to keep this from him for 10 years. And when he saw me, he asked who I was waving at. I was in the basement doing my arts and crafts in my big, messy arts and crafts pile. And he asked me who I was waving at, and I was so ashamed. I just felt so much shame, and I just wanted to disappear in that moment. And I just thought to myself, wow, this is my closest person. This is the person I feel safest with. And I still feel so ashamed. I feel so ashamed of this habit that I have that I can't not do. I just can't. And so that is when I started doing research on autism, which then led me to research on autism with ADHD, which seemed like kind of more of a fit of my traits. Went down the research rabbit hole. Anyway, stimming is a huge, huge part of my neurodivergence, and it's something that I always go back to whenever I'm feeling like maybe I don't have autism, maybe I don't have ADHD. I always go back to stimming because that is something that has always been a part of who I am, and I can't not do it. I just can't. Of all the ways that I've tried to mask, even in the privacy of my own company, like I can't not stim. And so I have started slowly stimming in public. I do this mostly by using stim toys. I know that now it's a little bit more acceptable for people to use stim toys. So in a way, I am grateful that I was diagnosed late because there's just generally a little bit more acceptance of these neurodivergent traits that I have. So I use stim toys. And I've also like kind of introduced a little bit of finger flapping and a little bit of movement. Just like when I feel like a buildup of energy in my body, I just like kind of move it around however it wants to move in public. And that feels really good because it feels like when I'm alone, I'm not aggressively finger flapping anymore because I'm not bottling all of that up for when I'm alone. I just do it in the moment, and it really helps me to kind of regulate in the moment instead of saving it for a time when I feel like I can do it in the privacy of the bathroom or wherever. Last but not least, number 4. I labeled this comfy cozies. So I have been sleeping with a weighted blanket for a very long time now, probably maybe 8 years, and that was like my spot. My cozy spot was in bed when I could lay with my weighted blanket. Nowhere else. I also have a pillow that's made out of eyelet, which is the same material that my childhood blankie was made out of. My mom sort of got me this pillow as a joke because it was made out of the same material as my blankie, and I got attached to it because I love it's really like a sensory seeking thing for me with the eyelet. I rub the eyelet ruffles on my face and on my skin, and it's really just a comfort for me. And I used to feel so ashamed that I still had like a comfort object, but now I just fully embrace it. I fully embrace pillowy and I fully embrace my weighted blanket, and I've even started using those things in other spaces. So if I'm on a meeting, a virtual meeting in my office, I'll have the weighted blanket on my lap. I'll even have my little pillow so I can rub the eyelet on my skin. If I'm watching a movie with my husband, watching TV, I will bring the pillow and the weighted blanket out to the living room, down to our theater room so that I can use it there. And I don't know, it's just like being able to provide myself with comfort. That's what it all comes down to, is like being able to provide myself with comfort no matter what other people think of it. I can't even speak. It's just been, oh my goodness, I really can't speak. It has just been life-changing for me. I'm not pushing down my needs anymore, whether that's through self-regulating, through stimming, through providing myself with comfort, through expressing myself, through fashion, or even just validating my own experience. I'm not suppressing my needs anymore. And I know that this is just the beginning of it all. Like, I've been diagnosed for a month, so I have a long, long road ahead of me. But I will say that in the past month, I have gotten to know myself so deeply, and I have gotten to take care of myself in a way that I never have before. And I'm just the happiest I've ever been because of that. And I can't wait to see what life is like next month or in a year or 10 years from now. At the end of my life, I just can't wait to see what I get to experience, because being diagnosed at 29 is late. I will admit that, but it could have been much later, and it is much later for some people. Some people never get to know their neurotype. They never get to fully know themselves, and I am so grateful for that. So I'm going to end it here, but I just want to leave you with a couple of questions. If you want to put them into the comments, I'd love to read them. The first is, where are you in your process of unmasking? How do you even feel about unmasking? Is it something that you want to do? Is it something that you feel that you can do? And if so, how have you unmasked thus far? How do you want to unmask? Do you even want to unmask? There's so many questions here to ask. And I just want you to know that in my book, there is no wrong answer. Whether you stay masked or unmask, you're not wrong. And how you choose to do that or not do that is totally up to you, and it's totally valid. I just hope that you join me in this community, that you share your experience, that you follow along with my experience. And I just hope that together we can create a world that is more accepting, more loving, and more freeing people up to be 100% who they are. That's all I have to say for you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will talk to you on the next one.